In the year 1700, India accounted for nearly a quarter of the world's economy. It was the beating heart of global trade, a land of gold, silk, and spices. Fine cotton textiles and jewels were exported across continents. Its cities shone with craftsmanship and commerce. Even the region of Bengal alone was richer than the entirety of Britain. But by 1947, when India finally gained independence, its share of the global economy had fallen below 4%. That difference did not disappear. It was taken, not only through invasions, but through ledgers, taxes, and trade laws. For 2 centuries, the British Empire constructed one of the most efficient systems of extraction in human history. They did not merely rule India, they monetized it. A civilization that once exported luxury goods to Rome, Arabia, and China was transformed into a supplier of cheap raw materials for British industry. And this was done not through war, but through a quiet revolution, through accounting. This is not a story of nationalism or revenge. It is a story of mathematics, the story of how one of the richest societies on earth became one of the poorest. Not by war, but by financial design. To understand it, we must go back to the beginning. Long before the Union Jack flew over Delhi, in the early 1600s, India was governed by the Mughal Empire. With a population of nearly 150 million, almost a quarter of the world's population, advanced agriculture, sophisticated irrigation, bustling ports. Indian textiles were so valuable that European merchants sailed for months just to acquire bolts of cotton. Pepper, indigo, silk, all flowed outward through the ports of Surat and Calcutta. India ran trade surpluses with nearly everyone. Gold and silver flowed in, not out. But across the sea, a small island nation was rising, ambitious, armed, and organized around a new idea, the Joint Stock Company. In 1600, Queen Elizabeth I granted a royal charter to a group of London merchants. The East India Company. It was not a state, but it would become one. It had shareholders, a board of directors, and very soon, an army. At first, it was just another trader in a crowded market. Portugal, the Netherlands, and France were already in India, but while others sought partnership, the British sought monopoly. Their secret weapon was not cannons or diplomacy. It was finance. Ships funded by bonds, risks insured by Lloyd's. A scalable London credit network. The company quickly realized one thing: the real money was not in trade, but in taxation. In 1757, everything changed. The Battle of Plassey, a small clash in Bengal, became a turning point in world history. With fewer than 1,000 British soldiers and a handful of local allies, the Nawab of Bengal was defeated. But the real victory came afterward. The company installed a puppet ruler and acquired the right to collect Bengal's taxes. This decision marked the birth of corporate colonialism. Within a decade, tens of millions of pounds were flowing annually from Bengal to London. This extraction triggered inflation, famine, and economic collapse. London grew rich. Calcutta starved. Dividends soared in Parliament. Share prices exploded. Investors who had never set foot in Asia grew wealthy on Indian taxes. Meanwhile, the farmers paying those taxes could not afford food. The company had become something the world had never seen before. A private empire with its own currency, army, and courts. During the Bengal famine of 1770, around 10 million people died. Yet the company continued collecting taxes. It continued exporting grain. For London, it was a good year. The market had replaced mercy. British economists sold this as civilization. Railways, courts, education. But all of it was designed for extraction. Railways were built not to connect people, but to connect cotton fields to ports. Schools did not educate the public. They trained colonial clerks. Courts did not protect rights. They enforced debt. Even the railways guaranteed British investors a 5% return. And if profits fell short, Indian taxes covered the difference. The risk was India's. The reward was Britain's. This system was given a name, the drain of wealth. Between 1765 and 1938, Britain extracted the modern equivalent of roughly $45 trillion from India, more than the current GDP of the United States and China combined. This was not just economics. It was humanity. Textile cities collapsed. Artisans vanished. Centers like Dhaka fell into ruin. India went from the world's largest textile producer to a colony supplying raw cotton to Manchester. Famines increased. Exports continued. 20 million people died while grain was shipped to Britain to avoid disturbing the market. The empire fought wars with Indian money. India became the empire's central bank. After 1947, India inherited not just poverty, but a system of dependency. Today, the IMF and World Bank continue the same structure with cleaner language. Each year, developing countries send more money back in interest than they receive. The empire collapsed, but the spreadsheets are still running. Empires do not end. They evolve. From land to ledgers, from gunpowder to contracts. Britain did not just build a colony in India. It built the prototype of the modern global economy. And yet, India endured. Recovery takes time. Extraction is instant. Consider this the cruel mathematics of empire. Britain conquered India not with soldiers, but with accountants. The ledger, opened in 1757, has still not been closed. History does not repeat itself, but balance sheets rhyme. If this gave you a new perspective, subscribe. History has the answers, and I'll show you where to look.